Hi everybody. They're having some of their beef heart. Very excited about it. Hi babies. So what's happening today? Oh, funny thing happened today. I had to go back to the dentist to get the stupid thing fixed that keeps not being fixed right. And at the end of our visit, she says, and she is turns out a very religious fundamentalist type, like end times type Christian. Anyway, she says, give your wife a hug from us because, I've been going through whatever with them. And I said, okay, we'll do. And she says, oh, in a friendly way. And I said, oh, well, you better ask somebody else then because I don't, she's too cuddly for that. So, if you're going to act homophobic, because I know it makes her uncomfortable to have to deal with us dykes. If you're going to be homophobic, expect us to come back, hard with it and make you feel even more uncomfortable because I think it's hilarious. So what else is going on? Oh, I want to, I've gotten all these fabulous comments from you, my genius viewers out there, and YouTube keeps fucking deleting them, as you know. So what I want to do is, for tomorrow, I think I'll read some of those. I don't know if I'll be able to show them because you know how I am with the editing. I met a young woman at MFR. Hopefully she's going to save us from ourselves and teach us how to use some editing equipment, so maybe I'll be able to do things like show you your own comments. High tech, I know. But in the meantime, I might just read them because I really thought they were all great and insightful. And welcome to anybody new who is checking us out. I hope that we are entertaining and enlightening, or at least enraging for you. Oh, and there was one other thing I wanted to chat about today. Let's sit in front of this tomato and talk about it. So I've been watching big sigh, you know what's coming. I've been watching some quote unquote radical feminists on the tubes, and I've heard women saying things like, well, you don't have to embrace all of the tenets of radical feminism. You can just kind of pick the ones that work for you and leave the rest. And to that I say, bullshit. You can do that, but I would call that, literally choice feminism. You're picking and choosing what you want to take from something. And I would suggest that, oops, sorry, I'm playing with the focus. There's bees. I would suggest that perhaps what you are practicing is not, in fact, radical feminism. Now, I don't think that it's not like you need to become some kind of nun and lock yourself away from the world and change everything about your life overnight if you have read enough theory where you really feel like you want to call yourself a radical feminist. But I do think that it better fucking change some things about how you live your life. Unless your name is Andrea fucking Dorkin or, Mary Daly, I think, or Audre Lorde, I think that we come to this as part of the process of being willing to see where it is that we actually live, the conditions under which we've actually been born and bred, and have, possibly brought other women into it, or girls. So what I'm saying is, if you come to radical feminism and you call yourself a radical feminist and nothing about your life changes, reconsider. Maybe read some more. Read some more works. Because for me, not that I'm the obviously end all be all of this shit, but I eventually changed everything about my life, and now I've ended up in the backyard with chickens. I'm not saying that's a natural end result at all, right? We have a lot of urban radical feminists. I'm just saying, like, the conditions of my life and who I associated with and how I thought about things and how I conducted myself, even my appearance changed. And I am not, like I said, for me it was a journey, and I feel like I came to it kind of late. I grew up before the internet, so things were a little different back in the day. But now I feel like everybody has that, although we've been buried again. So maybe it's even worse now. I don't know. The youngs would have to speak on that. But really, if after reading all of this, your opinion on some things doesn't change a little bit, and how you are living doesn't change a little bit, and you don't, and even before I did make changes, I wanted to make more changes. Like, I saw the flaws, and it was actually like agonizing, this tension between what I knew I was seeing and how I was actually living, and eventually it got to be too much where I had to change a lot, like a lot. So yeah, unless you were raised in like a separatist commune of some sort, and maybe in Kenya where they actually have those all-women villages, they do exist, ladies, and they are fucking wonderful, and I wouldn't look to America for leadership in that area. The rest of the world has already figured this out and is already well and underway living like that. And if you think that your man, that your Nigel is not is somehow special or different or understands and doesn't do the things that these other men do, maybe you should look a little harder and believe what you see. And here's another one that I can't stand. I've heard some of these same people saying things like, oh, well, look at this thing's blooming. It's so gorgeous. So nice, pretty. They only last for like a day, the blooms. And I can't even remember what they're, hibiscus. I've heard a lot of women who say stuff like that say, they want to differentiate themselves from bitter man-hating hags such as, myself. And if that's what your concern is, if you're concerned about remaining palatable to the male appetite, then you are not there. And I guess that kind of leads me into talking about separatism a little bit. So my wife and I, we're pretty much separatists, I would say. And to me, again, this isn't like some fucking purity test, right? But a lot of us will have males that are kind of grandfathered into your life. I do in my life for various men that I'll see. But what I noticed when I thought about it for a little while was, well, there's not very many of them. And there is an attrition thing, right? Like as one goes, he's not replaced with a new model. But what I noticed is every single one of those men who's grandfathered in is attached to a woman that I care dearly about and do not want to sacrifice my relationship with. So on their own, and I say this with someone who doesn't have any, brothers, but separatists I know have brothers and they don't talk to their brothers because what they found out was if it wasn't for the rest of the family being the go-between, the brothers themselves put zero effort into a relationship with them. And it was all a one-way, obviously parasitic energy sucked like we see so many times with all, male-based relationships. So I'm going to take off this because I think I'm making you all dizzy, and I'm really sorry about that. There we go. Thank you so much for the compliments on the garden too. All I see is the fucking flaws, but like I can see where it's gonna be next year, so just wait. But thank you so much. You're very kind. And you must not watch any actual gardeners because my anyway, thank you. I'm trying to learn how to take compliments without being a whatever. Oh, now I hear that my device is too hot and my video quality might be affected, so that probably is a good hint for me to stop talking shortly. So just think about that, like in terms of the men in your life. Why are you hanging on to them? And if there was no woman attached, would you? And I'm not saying any action needs to be taken on that at all, but I would say don't be afraid of separatism. It's another process, just like becoming a radical feminist, it's just another process. And it's not, no one's sitting up here judging you, but I'm gonna say, like, if you're so worried about not being man-hating and not my Nigel, and I don't accept all the theory behind radical feminism because it makes me uncomfortable, then, you know, I guess as olds we have to kind of take into account that we are examples. Like, maybe think about the example that you're setting for the youngs and whether that's really going to serve young women in their development and serve them going forward in the future, or if it's serving something else. Look at this little fucker. You see these fucking squirrels? What do you got? You got one of my very few apples? I bet you do. Look at. Let's bury this in the ficus. That's a good idea. Oh, how about if I break your plant? Yeah, your beautiful hibiscus. Oh, so now I'll wonder why there's an apple seedling. Goddamn squirrels. They're literally where are you going? Just leave it. You're gonna tear. No, now I understand what has happened with the drip irrigation too. It's all becoming clear. It's not gremlins, it's squirrels. All right, so I think I've said enough, and you know, I mean, you can get offended obviously at what I'm saying, but just stop tearing at that. Oh my God, you're tearing up my man's jeez. So, I mean, take it to heart, don't take it to heart. I would say just don't be afraid to be a mean lesbian. Don't be afraid to reconsider the dudes in your life. And don't be afraid to let radical feminist theory change you, whether or not you call yourself a radical lesbian. I'm a radical feminist. Everybody have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.